1520 Sports Podcast Show 207 on June the 7th, 2022. Dave, whole bunch of stuff happened since we last spoke last Thursday. Between you got the Saudi League, you got the Oilers, the NHL playoffs are going on. You have our friend, not our friend, but the gift that keeps on giving for the podcasters in the world, the DeShaun Watson saga going on. So much going on in the world of sports. Baseball, I want to talk a little bit tonight, but we probably won't get to that because of DeShaun Watson and that debacle. But let's start tonight, Dave. Let's start tonight with the Edmonton Oilers going down, getting swept aside in 4 games straight by the Colorado Avalanche. Game went to overtime last night for hockey fans, as you know. I think Colorado is a much superior team, and it's not. I don't think it's close. I think with a goaltender of my caliber, that series might go 6. I actually think that the Oilers should have won that game last night. They had the Colorado Avalanche down 4-2, and then Mike Smith decided he had to be Cale Makar playing the puck, and Bobby Orr, whatever you want to call him, and he goes to the wall, shoots it, hits the referee. The rest is history. It's 4-3. That game probably should have ended 4-2. Mike Smith blew that game last night. He was not good throughout the series. Really wasn't good throughout the playoffs. Would the Oilers won that series with a goaltender like Vasilevsky? Probably not anyways. But Dave, man, that game last night was right for Oilers to take that one, and Mike Smith blew that one, in my opinion.
If Mike Smith played B-plus goalie this entire series, they would have won game 1, and they would have won last night. 2-2. And then who knows what else, because he at times he was fucking awful and cost his team goals. That's simple, black and white. I'm not saying he's the reason they got swept. I'm not saying he's the reason it's not 2-2, but he's the biggest single contributing factor to the fact the Oilers did not win a game that series.
100%, Dave. I thought that he was bad, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You show me a good coach, I'll show it. Or you show me a good goalie, I'll show you a good coach. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. Your job as a goaltender in National Hockey League is to stop all the easy ones and a few of the hard ones. And Smith didn't do that throughout this series, especially last night. There was the short side goal McKinnon got in the third period, the slider along the ice in the third period as well. It wasn't good. It was bad goalieing, as we say in the goaltending world. It was atrocious. And like I said, they may not have won. They had Draisaitl down. We'll talk about him in a second. But Mike Smith, and we talked about it back in December, that the Oilers' biggest problem that Ken Holland didn't solve in the offseason was going to be goaltending, because they just don't have any money on the salary cap.
Colorado's number 2 was better by a long shot than Edmonton's number 1. And then also, which we also have to say, and as opposed to shitting on people, what I'm going to say is Cale Makar is a player. He's like the new Lidstrom, the Pronger. Pick your guy. He's so fucking good.
I had that on the notes to touch on that, Dave. He's real good. He's a young kid, played for the Brooks Bandits in the AJHL just down the road here not too many years ago. I think he's his 3rd or 4th year in the league. That kid he's a stud. I thought it was kind of a lofty statement that they had between periods, that they were saying he's as good or better than Bobby Orr. Let's give him a little bit more time before you start comparing him to probably the greatest defenseman ever, Bobby Orr, because like you brought up, there's a guy by the name of Nick Lidstrom who won 7 Norris trophies and won one at the age of 40. So before you start surpassing Lidstrom and getting to Orr, there's a little bit that has to happen. The kid, he was probably the best player on the ice last night. 5 points in an eliminate or in a deciding game in the playoffs. Anytime the players get 5 points, that's something else. And to do it from the back end like he's doing, man, oh man, the kid can flat out fly.
So good. And I don't know if it was game 3 or whatever. McDavid was one of his rushes, and it was, I'm gonna say it was 1-on-1, but Makar had the angle and McDavid was on the boards. so smart and so fast. He didn't chase him. He just kept his lane. He knew where McDavid was going to make his cut to the net, and he was ready for him. Poke check into the corner, harmless.
Poke check, gone. See you later. There wasn't even a question to be a penalty or anything. And with McDavid's speed, it's a pleasure to watch stuff like that. And you can go to all the hockey schools you want and all the power skating you want and your parents can spend all the money they want. You have to have some kind of a God-given talent and a knowledge of the game you got to have something to be able to play the way he's doing at such a young age.
You have to have the skill and the trust in your skill and the knowledge of how to apply your skill. Like, and I think where I go to is always like hockey sense. He has such a tremendous amount of hockey sense.
Yeah.
His awareness of where he is with and without the puck, either on the offensive side or the defensive side. That kid was special to watch. And, McKinnon is good. He's that guy's so good too. So is Landeskog.
I like the sandpaper that McKinnon plays with. He showed it last a little bit. It was borderline dirty,
a little dirty-ish,
but it was a lot gritty, not dirty, but it was a lot gritty. He played with a little bit of sandpaper to his game last night, and it showed. And the Colorado Avalanche are going to Stanley Cup finals.
Yeah, and you can't really say they wanted it more because both teams are out there and they really want to win. Both teams really want to win. I didn't question the desire on either side, but it seemed to me as a team, Colorado has learned from their mistakes in the past, and they weren't going to let that kind of shit repeat itself. And they came ready to play. They were locked down. They clearly had a better plan than Calgary did to neutralize McDavid. And even though McDavid got his points and got his goals, you can't shut someone like that down forever. But they contained him, and they didn't let him be a difference maker every single shift like he seemed to be in the Calgary series.
The guy that was really good, even though he was clearly injured, and they haven't talked about it, was Draisaitl. I think he got 3 more points last night, and he's clearly going on one wheel. Man, that guy showed a lot of grit last night. And it might turn out to be. You read all over the Twitter thing today, and not just Twitter people, but actual hockey guys that for the Oilers to make the next step, they might have to get rid of Draisaitl just because they got to find a goaltender. Now, you can't do that because he only makes $8.5 million. That's what we've talked about before on the 1420 podcast, how that deal at 8.5, it's the best deal in hockey. And so to get rid of him just for a goaltender, well, that's going to set your team back 3 years for a goaltender. And there's not that many goaltenders out there. So what do you do?
What do you do? And they were talking about Kane too. I haven't heard one fucking word about a number one D-man because everybody's going to be, oh, well, Nurse was hurt. Nurse was this, Nurse was that. Nurse is a B defenseman. He's a B. He's not an A. And that's it. And check me if I'm wrong, but I've said this before. I have no fucking faith in Ken Holland and this Oiler organization. Yes, the Oilers took a massive step forward by winning 2 rounds in the playoffs this year. Yes, we saw that Draisaitl and McDavid can raise their elite play in the playoffs when it matters the most. We've seen that now. We know that can happen.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're letting in 4 to 5 goals a fucking game in the playoffs.
Every game.
And I saw Dave McDavid doing some of his back checking. For all his speed, once he catches up to the guy, he doesn't know what to do. Like when he back checks, you can pretty much call him a penalty on him every single fucking time.
See, even with we get off the goaltender thing, but you get swept. It could, like you said, it could be 2-2 with some goaltending. Colorado's a lot better. They're going to lose some players. Free agency is going to come and bite them and right away here too. But you got to look at not just the Oilers, but a lot of teams in NHL playoffs or that are out of the playoffs now. And the 4 teams that are left, or that down to 3 now, they're a lot better than most of the teams that are out of the playoffs and it didn't make the playoffs. And you got to be thinking that these teams are thinking, Jesus, how far behind are we? Because you look how head and shoulders above that Tampa is and how far ahead that Colorado is. I expect Tampa to kind of take away this Rangers series I've been wrong 1,000 times these playoffs before, but you got to be thinking these other GMs and teams and ownership groups and fan bases throughout the National Hockey League got to be watching these semifinals and the finals that are coming up and thinking, we are so far behind, we think we're ahead.
It's one of those things, you have to have a plan. You have to know exactly, you have to have that intellectual honesty to understand why. And you, excuses are like assholes, right? Everybody has one. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out what is going to make your team better. And with a team like Edmonton, you got to take a look, like, how are they going to get better? They're going to be a year older or anything, but they really can't sign. They don't have the money
They have $7 million left for next year, and they got to go out and get a goaltender. And they're not going to be able to sign Kane. And you say what you want about the off the ice crap and everything else with Kane, but when he went there, when they changed the coaches around the same time, when Kane went there, he helped that team a lot. And they aren't going to be able to re-sign him. They just aren't, because he's going to get some owner's going to probably give him 2 years, $5-6 million, 2 years, and a very tight leash somewhere. He'll want 7, but I don't think an owner will do that because there's just salary cap and everything else. But Kane helped that team immensely when he went there, and he ain't coming back. So the Oilers are going to be a lesser team next year already. They just are.
Yeah, and you know, when you're 41 years old, you're not going to be a better goalie at 42 when now you've been exposed. They got him for another year. Duncan Keith,
I think it's time to go.
He was a non-factor out there.
Slow and old. Like the game passed him by, right?
It's not his fault. He just happens to be 36 now, right? It's not your fault. But these are questions that have to get addressed, like a veteran present, like the fact that fucking Chris Russell is still, or what's his name, still on that.
Yeah, team. Russell. Yeah.
He was average at best when they signed him for too much money.
He's a good player, but he's not a great player. He's not going to dazzle you. He's not going to. Okay, he won't hurt you, but he ain't going to help you. Like he'll be a 0 across the board. He's not going to be a minus. He ain't going to be a plus. He's just there. He'll block shots and do his job.
Kevin Lowe type player.
Well, not that bad, but you know, it's another thing. There's story for another day.
Hey, we're talking about a Hall of Famer.
A Hall of Famer, Kevin Lowe. That we'll get back into that thing another day. The Hall of Fame. We'll go through the Hall of Fame list and say yes, no, maybe so again one of these days in the dog days of summer once it gets all going again. But Dave, the Oilers there, you know, they came close. They had some the crowds that stood there were good. I did notice, Dave, though. Maybe this is just bias from when we were younger and drinking at the Northlands Coliseum, but that crowd did not seem start to finish like it did back in the day when we used to go to playoff games in the Coliseum. In
Game 3, I think they did, but Colorado took them out of the game so early and kept them quiet and just stifled them so much. Yeah. I think that was part of the thing. And also, the wave is still a fucking thing. They're doing it there? What are they doing?
Only when you are mentally challenged. I shouldn't have said that, but it's true. I don't like the wave. They do the Yankee Stadium once. That's stupid. Ban the wave. That's enough.
Ban the wave. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I think it's ridiculous.
It is passé. The time has passed.
Time has passed.
Let's put it away for 10 years, and then we can maybe do it on 70s night or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the wave. You standing up, people are watching, beer gets spilled, nachos get spilled, popcorn everywhere. You people standing in front of you, not watching, making sure they're on time with it. Just watch the fucking game. Ban the wave.
Ban the wave, or
100%.
No, I was embarrassed to even be divorced from that team when I saw the wave. This is why we're divorced.
It's the ex-wife who got her hair colored, and you go, what are you doing?
And now she's Instagramming from Boss Hogs on a Thursday night. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Hey, listen, you're still the mother of my child. Quit it.
Act accordingly.
Just quit it. Don't embarrass your kid. Like, that's all you're doing. Tampa Bay's up 3-0 here. I fully expect them to come away and win this series, probably in 6 or 7 games. The Rangers are they're in a rebuild, but I fully expect Tampa to win that series. But I don't think they, watching that Colorado team with Makar, with McKinnon, with Landeskog, and the rest, even with a fourth or fifth rate goaltender, which Freddie Francouz is, I really believe that Colorado's headed to their first Stanley Cup championship in 21 years.
They played so well against the Oilers that like I believe they got out coached. The Oilers got out coached as well. I wouldn't even be able to tell you who is coaching the Avalanche right now, but they had a game plan and they executed perfectly, and they have the skill, the high skill players that you need. And even without their number one, they were able to dominate the Oilers thoroughly on the ice, and no panic either. Down 2 goals in the 10 minutes left in the third, and they came back. That like
they're down
no
2 goals twice. Yeah, it was fine. We're good. No problem
panic.
here.
They made it happen. They got the leaders, and I think they're on a mission. I almost want to see Tampa now win this series because I would like to see Colorado play Tampa, because
it'd be more of a best
Colorado
on
was
best. It'd be more of a best on best situation. Like for me, I'd rather see the Rangers. There's just there's something more of the Rangers are more of a sexy national team than Tampa. You're not going to many eyeballs. I don't think it's still going to be a tough watch for you and for me as well. But
I agree.
But it's going to be a tough watch either way around.
Yeah, but you know, it's whoever won that series, the Oilers Avalanche series, that's who I was going to be rooting for in the Stanley Cup, and it happens to be the Avs, and I'm looking forward to it. Like they to me seem like the best team in the NHL right now, and we're going to find out in a week and a half. I also saw a little tidbit that if Game 7 is to be played, there's a Bieber concert at MSG that night.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that'll go away. I'm thinking maybe not, because Bieber's big. Well, the Rangers are bigger. I mean, obviously, but are they? Like, I don't know.
They moved the Rangers game. They're not moving Biebs.
Right? Maybe. I don't know, because like, yeah, I don't know. You'd think that they would move the Bieber concert unless he's got dates coming here and coming there. But there's also union dues and everything else that happened with the concert at Madison Square Garden. I think they would move the Bieber concert, but you never know. You just never know.
You do never know. And you think someone may have possibly looked at a fucking schedule before they said this is when we want it.
Yeah, maybe we should take a look at this.
Or maybe they thought it would never get to Game 7.
Yeah, there's that too. Anyways, actually, Dave, I was just before we went on the air tonight, notification came up from somebody on the Twitter machine that lives in Denver. Ticket prices are actually quite reasonable. You can get yourself in the building face value right now for $75-80 as of right now.
Wow, what a treat.
I could not. I like they're a little bit up there in the Mile High Stadium, where it used to be the Pepsi Center. But anyways, if you're actually on that note, if you're going to go to the game in Denver or in Tampa or wherever in the upcoming days, and Father's Day is coming up, and you're going to a baseball game this weekend, use SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Save yourself $20 by using 1420 pod. That's 1420 pod. And like I said, we'll save yourself $20 and free parking with your $20 you saved, or maybe buy your dad a beer as well. 1420 Sports Podcast, 4 Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Brought to you by SeatGeek and SeatGeek.com. 1420 Sports Podcast, 4 Beer Sports, talking a whole lot more. Dave, I thought I had the show all figured out for tonight, what we were going to talk about. And then around 3 o'clock Mountain Standard Time, our friend Jim from the Fan of the Van podcast, he sent the 1420 Twitter account a note talking that the gift that keeps on giving for podcast creators and content creators, DeShaun Watson, a whole nother slew of bad press came out against him, that there was non-disclosure agreements had to be signed. There was 66 plus different masseuses that were on the line right at the Texas Stadium. A lot going on, this thing that just won't go away. And now they're talking about that there's a good chance that DeShaun Watson probably won't be playing football again. And then you looked at they were talking about the draft picks, everything else that went one way to the Houston Texans. It ain't good for the Cleveland Browns. Once again, the Browns are going to brown, and it's just the way things always seem to work out. Dave, this DeShaun Watson thing won't go away. and then now you're going with the Houston Texans making these masseuses. Is that the proper word? Masseurs, masseuses. That's the proper way of saying it. Making them sign non-disclosure agreements. What goes on behind closed doors stays behind closed doors, basically. Dave, as the days and weeks and months go by in this situation, it's looking worse and worse for DeShaun Watson.
I'm not surprised.
Oh
for
no!
A fucking millisecond. Like we talked about this. We talked about it on when we talked to our brutally honest friends. We talked about this, and I asked the question: how many?
That was back in January.
Yeah. How many massages do you get? Like how many different ones? Like for fuck's sake, if it smells bad, it's probably bad. And like why people that are signing checks for millions of dollars turn a blind eye to this and don't nip it in the bud? Like why someone didn't grab DeShaun Watson by the fucking ear like my mom used to do, and like, you fucking smarten up, boy. You're playing with fire here. You're gonna get into trouble. We're gonna get into trouble, and everybody's gonna look bad, as opposed to what those fuckers did. Like, it's why nobody stepped in and said, you smartened the fuck up, guy, because you're pissing a future shit ton of money away, and your career and your reputation.
You know, Dave, now you're getting into a situation where the NFL can step in it with the Houston Texans and go, you have a lack of organizational control, which has happened before in the league. And then you go to NCAA football where there's a lack of institutional control, and guys lose their program, guys get fired, this guy gets suspended, they lose this, they lose that, and then things go on. And you're dealing with billions, not millions, billions of dollars that the Houston Texans might be out, and this owner might get himself in a heap of trouble, because shit can only run downhill so far. Eventually it's got to start going back up. You can only blame DeShaun Watson and his cronies so much, and because he had enablers to let him happen, like you said. Yes, he at the end of the day, he's got a fetish or whatever goes on. I don't know what behind the closed doors, none of my business. But at the end of the day, there were people inside the Houston Texans organization that were allowing this to happen, and it wasn't just DeShaun Watson.
Allowing it to happen, enabling it to happen.
Yeah.
Not like it was when I don't know how the fuck the Texans found out about his predilection for amateur masseuses. But once they did find out,
you've been working on that one for a while.
Well, no, I'm a linguist.
A little bit bigger than Wordle lets you do every morning, that's for sure.
Well, predilection is a lot longer than 5 letters, but nonetheless. Once they found out about him, instead of grabbing him to the ear or whacking him on the head with a shoe, they said, here's an NDA, and now you use the hotel. We got you a suite full time in this hotel, so you can do your massage therapy hobby here. They enabled his predilection.
Well, what did his lawyer said something last week or the week before about there's no such thing. You're allowed to have a happy ending or something along those lines. Did you hear that?
A happy ending isn't illegal.
That's
what it said, unless you pay for it. That's what it said.
So that's Jesus, man. They all need to shut the fuck up and come clean.
Well,
it's only because now that it's going on and on and on, because we've talked about this probably our 5th or 6th time in the 200 plus shows we've done for this, Dave. We've talked about this a lot, and there's no one listening to us. So just imagine what the sports talk radio down in Houston must be about this, or in Cleveland now, because they don't have a quarterback. Like, they don't have a quarterback right now, because Baker Mayfield's going to be like, no, fuck that. You guys picked him over me, and he ain't allowed to play. So now you have 2 teams without a quarterback, because this guy has a fetish for fucking masseurs. If they would have nipped this in the bud, how long ago? 2 years now this has been going on. We're not talking about this right now. I'm glad because there's something to talk about. I hope nothing horrible happened to these women, obviously, but how this can continue to go on, and then a little more gets leaked out and a little more gets leaked out. It's like, what the fuck? Like, how hasn't his mother, like you said, walked in and go, Boy, what the fuck? You're going to tell us the truth, and you're telling me now.
Exactly. Like they knew what was going on, and anybody that wants to pretend for a fucking second that these women are coming out because they want to get paid. How do they have the exact same story? How do they do this? How do they have text? And I read some of the transcripts from DeShaun, one of his depositions, and he's like so you knew that wasn't a you knew she wasn't a professional masseuse, but yet you chose to go to her. Well, that wasn't of concern to me. Well, then what was you concerned? Then why the fuck were you going there? Right? You're a $1 zillion athlete playing the world's hardest game at the world's hardest position at a high level, and this isn't caring about your body. This is caring about your fucking little head, not your big head. You stupid guy. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why he didn't have an escort to just fucking like a Heidi Fleiss type thing. Just get your handy and do it the Rob Kraft.
Whatever, man.
Right?
Like, it's so bizarre.
The Gifts of Asia or something like that. And it's not even bizarre. This is just classic
Entitlement.
This is just entitlement. And I'm more important than you, and I'm more famous than you, and I have more money than you, and I'm a man of influence, and I can make things good for you. And who's going to believe you anyway? It's part of that, I guess, the Me Too movement. He didn't. No, he didn't force himself on him. He didn't physically abuse them. But he sexually assaulted them. And when I say that, sexually assaulted, if you grab a person's hand and put it on your body in a sexual manner, that is sexual assault. That's what it is. There's different degrees, and there's of sexual assault, like of I don't know. There's been some suggestion if he put his hands on them in an inappropriate manner, but from the gist of things that I read in this article today, he was making sure his junk touched their hand.
It's just
that's
so,
sexual assault.
It is, and it's so bizarre. And like you said, Dave, now there's up to 66 women doing this or talking about this. You know, and I know, to get 66 people to collaborate the same story is impossible. It is. It's you like and the older we get, it's tough to get the story right between me and you sometimes, let alone 66 people, because you forget and everything else. So there's no way this is it's a bunch of women or a bunch of people trying to get rich. It's not. It's just not. This guy is guilty, and the organization's guilty. And another, because the guy can play quarterback, he's not going to get away with it. But why didn't somebody from the Cleveland Browns organization go and talk to some of these women prior to this contract being signed? Because all of a sudden their $1 billion business is in jeopardy. Like, it's $1 billion businesses because this guy likes getting hand jobs from fucking masseurs. Think about that. There's $2 billion industries that might be destroyed by one guy's fetish.
Nothing's getting destroyed. No business are going to get destroyed. The Houston Texans are going to play with
they're going to play,
fan base.
Their chances of being competitive are gone.
Well, these are two franchises that can't stay competitive to save their lives, and this is what. And now this might be why, because the Houston Texans are enablers. The Cleveland Browns are fucking morons. They can't fucking figure it out. They finally get a quarterback that they traded up to get with Baker Mayfield, finally wins him a playoff game. He was hurt last year. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is the God's gift of quarterback. I'm not. But I'd rather have him at the helm than Kirk Cousins any fucking day. Any fucking day. He won a playoff game for Cleveland for the first time in forever. And now you throw him to the curb, you disrespect him, and you sign him. And Cleveland said they did due diligence. And Cleveland Browns said
they couldn't
were confident. But I'm just saying what they said. They put out a fucking press conference with Hazlitt and his wife, the owner of the thing.
Idiots can't fucking spell.
They did. Well, you don't. Well, you become a billionaire and the owner of a franchise with someone spelling for you. Then I don't know how that happens, but at the end of the day, he's the motherfucker writing checks, and he said that Cleveland did their due diligence and then they're confident that this will get resolved. Fucking liars! Because when they signed him to this $230 million contract, do you know how much he's getting paid for the first year?
$1 million.
What? $1 million because
They knew he was going to get suspended.
They knew he was going to get suspended. So for them to say we did our due diligence, well then, you know shit's coming down the road. And this is where the NFL has to say they and also too what I read is that like the Panthers were in on him too. And they wanted fully guaranteed. There's no opt out like and if this with the legal whatever fucking hang-ups and shit like oh excuse me, with the legal playing out in court, and that we'll claw some of it back, and that was a non-starter. If you want him, like, you have to sign off, you have to fully guarantee it, and it doesn't matter fucking one thing what happens about this.
What's crazy about this thing, you say the Browns did their due diligence and everything else looking into this. The
Browns said they did.
The Browns said. What's crazy about this, Dave? These stories always get broken by some roving reporter who's making fucking 10 cents a word for whatever fucking newspaper. This was New York Post, so it's a little bit bigger, or the Times, doesn't really much matter which one it was. But it's always by some starving reporter looking for a story to make and so they dig a little harder and dig a little harder and dig a little harder. So why is some guy who's making $10 an hour on food stamps, why is he able to find out this stuff and the multi-billion-dollar corporation can't figure it out? Because this guy wants to, and the Browns didn't. Simple.
Exactly. Well, and yeah, you look for the answers you want to find, right?
If you don't want to hear the answer, don't ask the questions, and the Browns didn't.
Exactly. Right. And I still don't know why. Well, because they're the Browns. And it's funny how some organizations just can't stop stepping on their dick. And the Browns are one of them, and they finally get a little glimpse into it of what a successful franchise might look like. And they pull fucking shit like this. And DeShaun Watson is all-world talent. Fuck, that guy is so good. I loved watching him.
Never play again.
Oh, no, he is. He is going to play again.
I don't think so.
He is going to play again.
He hasn't played 2 years already.
Well, a year.
No, it's been 2.
No, you sure it's been 2?
We've been talking about this for a long time, Dave.
Well, that was before we were like, because he sat out and he wanted to trade. And then when he wanted to trade, no, I think it's only been 1 full year, to tell you the truth, because he only got traded towards the end of the year or even after the Super Bowl is when he got traded. I think he's only sat out 1 year. And because he held out before these allegations came out. It's only been 1. I believe.
It doesn't much matter. I'm sure before the NFL season comes up, we'll be talking about DeShaun Watson and Jim tomorrow morning on his podcast with the Fan of the Van podcast. He'll have his take on it and everything else, because he really throws it out there. His disdain is worse than mine and yours together, Dave, for the Fan of the Van podcast and the DeShaun Watson situation. But anyways, support for the 1420 Sports podcast brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below the waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped Performance Package, the ultimate men's hygiene bundle. Join over 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer. That's 20% off, worldwide shipping, free worldwide shipping with promo code 1420SCAPE. That's 1420SCAPE at manscaped.com. And Dave, if 4 million guys have bought this, and by my math, that's 8 million balls who've been treated with Manscaped.
You don't know that. There's a lot of people and survivors out there from testicular cancer.
That's a valid point.
You and I both know a couple $1 rolling around these days.
That's a very valid point, Dave. I used on the weekend. I tried out I didn't use the Landscaper 4.0, but I did use the Weed Whacker for the nose hair and the ear hair. The nose hair seems to be a bigger problem of mine for whatever. I think it always has been. There's been a few creepers that just grow nonstop, but I used the Weed Whacker over the weekend. Great. It was a great unit. and I'm usually scared to put things in my nose like that, but this is a great unit, worked out fantastically. The underwear are great. The ball deodorant actually smells quite good. So far, so good with the Manscaped products.
Deanne told you it smelled good?
I just put it up to my nose and that's a rub. Maybe we'll bring her on the air one day. We'll talk about the ball deodorant.
I'm sorry, I rattled you.
Yeah. Anyways,
it's good to hear. I have a similar product to the weed whacker. It's funny, as I just whacked the nose hair literally like 2 days before I got my product. So that's going to be on the thing. I have them both charging and ready to go. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to have to consult with my wife before I start going into the jungle down there, and we'll see what we decide. And I can't wait to give out my honest and frank opinion.
Couple things that they wants to hit on here to maybe this will change everybody's opinion. Inside the package, you'll find a Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Perseverance ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, Performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag goes with you. The Lawnmower 4.0 is for future generation. It's got the ceramic head on it, so to protect your family jewels. So it's all there. There's a light on it so you can see in the dark. I don't know why. And there's some good reading material that comes with the Weed Whacker 4.0, but the whole thing's really good. And like I said, time to take care of yourself. So go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with promo code 1420SCAPE. That's 1420 SCAPE at manscaped.com. That's a long one. I'll get the hang of that later on, Dave. We'll figure this all out, and these guys will be a full-time sponsor for us. And thank you very much once again to manscaped.com for sending us the package last week.
The package is great. I have, like I said, I haven't sampled. I've read and everything, and I can't wait to use the product. They're rechargeable electrical devices, which is better than the battery powered things that I used to have, and I'm looking forward to trying a product, because 4 million, 8 million,
4 million people. 4 million people used
4 million. Well, 4 million and 2 now. So
there we go.
I haven't used it, but I will, and I can't wait to give my honest and frank results.
Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job at manscaped.com. 1420 Sports Podcast, for River Sports, talking a whole lot more. Dave, the RBC Canadian Championship is this weekend. The golf tour makes a stop out in Southern Ontario, sponsored by Bodog. Luke's Lock of the Week, sponsored by Bodog, like I just said. Luke went, good friend of ours, Luke Davis. He went with Canadian boy Corey Connors to win the RBC Championship, the Canadian Open. Put down 20 or win yourself. I think it was, what the heck was it? $400. He's a 2000 or plus 2000 spot. So Luke's Lock of the Week brought to you by Bodog and Bodog.com and the Bodog app. Corey Connors to win the thing. But Dave, the bigger news in the PGA Tour this week isn't really about the PGA Tour, but it's about that Saudi League, or whatever you want to call it. There's a word for it, but I don't care what it's called. There's always, LIV. There was some big money thrown about this week. Phil Mickelson was the last guy to take advantage of it. He got reportedly $250 million to play the Saudi League. Guy that I was surprised took the money and ran. Dustin Johnson took $125 million at a stage in his career where he probably doesn't really need to go and do it, but $125 million guaranteed money that's good though if you can get it, I guess. The one that really blew my mind, and he didn't take it, and the reports started off yesterday. It was a high 9-figure number, and it was leaked out late yesterday that Tiger Woods was offered $900 million to join the Saudi Golf League, and he gracefully declined it, Dave. Oh, man. Like we've talked about it before, how Phil blew through a lot of money gambling and bad investments and spending habits and the rest of it, and all. and you kind of knew he was going to take the money and go for it because he's been kind of the face of this thing along with Greg Norman to go and join this thing and take the money and do whatever he's got to do. 250 million, you think would get him through the end of next week, but you never know. But the one guy that kind of blew my mind to let go of his PGA Tour card and say he was out for a couple of years, and it might be even longer, that is Dustin Johnson. He only has the 2 majors. He's an all-timer. He's a great player. He's got a lot of wins on the tour, but he seems to be a kind of a guy. I thought that money wasn't the end all and beat all. It was playing golf, winning some tournaments, and having a good time. But 125 million is 125 million, I guess. It's astonishing to me these guys are taking this money for the simple fact that it's not going to be on TV. They can't play on tour, and if you don't have if you haven't won yourself a major yet, you can't play in the majors. And then Dustin Johnson, in his case, there's some guys who would never play the Ryder Cup. Dustin Johnson's not playing Ryder Cup for a couple of years, for the foreseeable future. I don't get it. Like, money's money. I get it. I get that. But he was going to make that money regardless, was he not?
Well, you got to. It's $150 million to come, right? Like he gets that money, and now any prize money he makes going forward is his. He stands to make like $30 million a year on top of that 150. The money is absolutely ridiculous. And but when I look at those names on that list, he's clearly the best golfer. Like Sergio Garcia, Oosthuizen, and and I read the article today. There's team play and there's team captains, and if your team does well, then you get bonuses, and they're gonna have a draft. And DJ is one of the captains. Serge is one of the captains, but 3 of the captains, I don't even fucking know who they are.
Yeah.
And so who the fuck are they picking? I have no idea. And to that note, like, if it's all about money, it's all about money. And I gotta think someone like DJ, have you heard him talk? Have you heard him give an interview?
Well, he's a bit dry, to say the least.
Right. He sounds moronic. Like, he sounds so fucking simple. He can play golf, and I have no idea, and maybe that's a charade, but he sounds so simple. And if he wants to make a couple $100 million extra, I don't care. I don't know, maybe I don't know. I want to pontificate here a little bit, because his father-in-law is a fairly successful athlete.
He did okay.
Who has a fairly good bank account, and I would hope that he would consult the grandfather of his child, who is a successful person in his own right, as to what he thinks he should do. And I'm not saying that Gretz told him to take the money and run. I'm not saying that for a second. But what I am saying is, I would hope he would get advice at some point to understand what your legacy may or may not be.
See, that's the thing, Dave, that comes across my mind, is that, yeah, you can have all the money in the world, blah, blah, blah. He probably already has more than he'll ever spend. He's got, like you said, Paulina's got probably her dad's credit card till the bitter end, no matter what. That's my thoughts on that. But it's your legacy and who you become, because all of a sudden you can't win this many tournaments. You're not going to be on TV. You're not going to be selling golf clubs. You're not going to be selling golf shirts. Like, you're not going to be on commercials anymore. You're not, because
not in North America.
Because the PGA has their guys, and then Nike has their deals and everything else. And TaylorMade has their guys. That might be the reason why Tiger said, I'm out, because he's going to make another $1 billion in his lifetime by just showing up, shaking hands, and kissing babies, right?
Well, I think
on the PGA Tour with Nike, with whoever he's with, right? Even if he doesn't play golf anymore, Tiger has his lifetime deals. So maybe he has to be part of the PGA Tour for that to happen. Maybe that's just complete 1420 speculation. I don't know. For Dustin Johnson to leave that money off the table, I think, I mean, what do I know? But I think that's a big mistake because your legacy is your legacy. Nobody remembers how much money you made in your career. You bring it up, you talk about it, but you talk about the victories, you talk about the moments, you talk about the shots, you talk about on and on and on, no matter what sport you play. And for Dustin Johnson to be going to a thing that no one can even watch because, like we talked off air, CBS, ABC, NBC, ESPN aren't going to touch this thing because they don't want to lose their contracts they have with the PGA Tour because they're quite lucrative. So these guys aren't ever going to be seen, I shouldn't say again, but for a couple years. And then it's over, right?
That's not necessarily true because
maybe a streaming service picks it up or something. I don't know.
Well, no, and the majors aren't run by the PGA. The Masters is invite only. The U.S. Open is run by U.S. Golf. The British Open has nothing to do with the PGA either. And what's the
majors? You like the three majors you have you can play. Three of the four. But
what's the last major?
The PGA Championship.
Well, okay. Well, obviously
you're not playing that one. You're definitely not getting that one. But but I could see, like you already saw it last week with the with the PGA before Phil even said, I'm declaring to go on the Saudi tour. They said, can you just not show up? And he didn't, right? Mm-hmm. So it's already happening that these guys are going to be left out of these tournaments because we don't want you here. If you don't want to be part of this, don't be part of this. Yes, but yes, if you're a returning champion to the Masters, but they told him to stay from there too, and he didn't show for that either. There were some other circumstances with Phil, obviously. Yeah. But how welcome are these guys going to be back to with the other players in on the tour? How welcome are they going to be?
Well, time's going to tell on that because, like I said, just when I see DJ behind a mic, I think that he doesn't give a fuck. I really don't. He's going to show up and golf and go home and do his thing with his family or whoever he hangs out with. I do not know these answers. It's tough. It is odd. It's a decision I'd like to know what it feels like to make. To say no to $150 million before you tee it up. Like, what's your obligations? What do you have to do? Like, is it a 5-year or a 6-year obligation? I have no idea.
I think it was two. I think it was two for sure, from what I thought I read. But I mean,
fucking Christ, $75 million a year
just to tee it,
just to tee it up. Yeah, and then you stand to make. I think the prize money is actually double as to an actual PGA event. So you might be winning like $2.5 million for a fucking Thursday to Sunday thing against subpar competition.
I mean, yeah, he's going to make more money up front, but whatever. It's just, but like we said, the legacy thing I think is something because you can only spend so much. Well, unless you're Phil Mickelson, but eventually your legacy and what you did to the game of golf or whatever sport or whatever trade or whatever profession you're in, that's how you're remembered, not with how many zeros in your bank account, right? And I don't know, man. I think this is a big mistake. Yeah, he's got more money. He's not ever going to listen to this. He doesn't care what Brent Redlinsky or Dave Van Robes says about him. But, man, I think this is a big fucking mistake career-wise. Financially, great. Career-wise, he's going to be a forgotten entity soon.
I could give a fuck because there's so many guys that are forgotten entities, right? Like he like who's better, Dennis Johnson or what's his name? Fucking, well, I'm gonna call him DJ or Jordan Spieth, right? Probably about the same career.
Yeah.
And then now, do we like one better than the other? Is one a better golfer than the other? And who cares unless they can start racking up majors.
Well, and that's the thing because you and I aren't the hugest. We don't sit down every Sunday and do the we're not in golf pools or everything else, so it's not a big skin off our back. Like we watch other things and got other stuff going on, but there are people who'll be like, we're out on DJ for sure. It's just I guess, man, I guess if you just there's no such thing as too much when it comes to money.
I guess, and maybe it's a better quality of life, right? You're in Europe, yeah. I don't know what their tour is, but
You don't got to play as much, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? I mean,
you don't have to play as much.
I'm sure his life
travel.
doesn't suck. I'm sure he's got a private jet, does what the fuck he wants. He's got Paulina manscaping his back for him, I guess, whatever. But it's just, I don't know. I just think that if if you didn't see a bunch of NHL guys running the KHL when they were offering a bunch of money for that back 15, 20 years ago.
Well, you see Russians do it, right? I think,
but just the Russians did.
Better. Yeah, because Russians get paid better and get treated better, and the NHL is without a doubt the single best league in the world, financially and how you're treated. Whereas the KHL, like, you hear gross money getting thrown around every now and then, but if the KHL wanted to be like the Saudi league, they'd be paying Malkin and Ovechkin.
Well, because Kovalchuk, he did jump ship. He got a big contract with I think it was with the Devils. He jumped ship and he went to the KHL and he got a big chunk of change. Ended up coming back because the way of life wasn't as great, but everything else. But I think golf's probably the only sport that could possibly do that, because it's a rich man's game when it comes down to it. And you got these deep pockets that can do this kind of stuff. And I just like, if someone pays you, whatever, man, like, fuck, who cares? But wouldn't you go like sit in bed one night and maybe go, fuck, I'm this guy's fucking toy. That's all I am. I'm this Saudi fucking prince's toy. That's it.
Well, and that led me to think about what's the motivation of this Saudi-backed league? Why are they pissing on the PGA shoes? Is it
like what's been broken? Like, I've heard, like, since this Saudi thing first came up, I read a lot of, like, Sergio couldn't wait to get out, just with the rules that PGA has. But why would this new group just go, we're start a new league? Like, it didn't work for the fucking XFL or the USFL or whatever for NFL football. So why is this new golf thing all the rage? It isn't going to work.
Is it a tax write-off? Like, without a revenue stream, like, where is the revenue stream? How are they going to recoup that kind of money?
I don't know. I know. The price of gas is $900 a liter right now. That's how.
Well, exactly. No, I understand that. But like on anytime you have a business, you have your seed money, you do this, and this is how we're going to recoup our expenses.
Yeah.
There's no chance on the planet
that they're making that money back through golf.
Yeah, like through their product. Like, they don't have. I don't know. Maybe they're with Sky. Like, I don't know with its Asian money. I have no idea. But I would imagine that the money in Europe and Asia still wants to watch the best product. That's why people in North America, even though they're watching the MLS, the Premiership is still a big fucking draw here in North America. Everybody knows who's doing well in the English Premier League. I don't, because that's the best league in the world.
Because you have the soccer league here in North America still doesn't match the TV ratings that you get for the Premiership. It doesn't.
Right. It doesn't. They have it's more of a local thing. It's a regional thing. And it's great. And it's developing the game here in North America, which I'm happy for. They have sold out barns, smaller barns, but they have a rabid fan
They're doing
base.
their thing.
Right. And they're making it work through ticket sales and through beer sales.
And they're not trying to leak into the Premiership. They're like, we're not taking these fans away.
They're not. They're definitely not pissing on the Premiership.
Like what they're doing, which I understand. They like the Premiership over here, the Premiership. The games are on a Saturday, Sunday morning at 7 a.m. You want to wake up, watch it. Great. They'll never try to go up against those TV deals at all. They'll have a game later on, done deal. We're not going to try to piss on these guys. We're not trying to steal their players. This is what we have. The odd guy might leak out of there when it gets to the end of his career, and that's it. They're not trying to defeat this. The Saudi thing, I don't get it. Like I said, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's just pissing on a tree for the sake of pissing on a tree.
Well, we should
So,
have wish I had a tree that big to piss on. Anyways, like I said earlier on, Luke's lock of the week for the Canadian, the RBC Canadian Open down in Southern Ontario on Bodog. Make sure you go to our social media accounts, click on the links. Corey Connors, you bet 20, you win $2,000 or $4,000. Doesn't much matter. It doesn't. Who cares? No, I should get the truth to that, shouldn't I? I should tell the truth to that one, Dave.
well, you win more than you lose.
$20 gets you 400, so it's 2,000. It's a plus 2,000 bet. $20 gets you 400, which is a pretty good chunk of change for a $20 bill. Corey Connors, the Canadian boy on home soil. Luke's luck of the week. 1420 Sports Podcast and Bodog.com. 1420 Sports Podcast. 4 beer sports talking a whole lot more. Dave, we're around baseball fields this weekend. I had a fortunate situation. You had an unfortunate situation that turned fortunate. Gypsy Girl Pizza Medicine Hat. We talked about it on a Thursday night show. Before the game started on Friday night there between the Moose Jaw Miller Express and the Medicine Hat Mavericks, the guys from Gypsy Girl Pizza knocked on the umpire room door, made sure we still wanted pizza to come to our door. After the game, Dave was sitting there hot and ready to go for us. Tasted fantastic. It was so good. Obviously way better. I like hot dogs, but this was way better than a stadium hot dog. Thank you once again to Gypsy Girl Pizza in Medicine Hat. If you guys are listening to us in the Hat or in the surrounding area, make sure you guys check out their food truck. Good bunch of guys, great food, and just all around great experience. Dave, your experience at the ballpark didn't turn out as well when you were at the park, but it turned out to be a good experience downtown. Let me know what happened.
So Jasper, my son, had a baseball practice on Friday night. When I went to pick him up, he was down on the mouth. You know why he was down on the mouth? His bat broke. And when I say broke, like, so with these kids and the bat, it's like a composite handle and an aluminum tube on the end for the hitting, and it actually separated. The aluminum separated from the fucking grip, and he was pissed. And we had bought this for him for fall ball, so it's less than a year old. Off we go. We shopped local for that bat, Doug's Sports here in Lethbridge. I phoned fella and asked about the warranty, and he goes, well, it has a year warranty, but it depends. I go, well, I'll see you in 20 minutes. Off me and the kid go to Doug's Sports, and as soon as he saw the bat, he goes, that shouldn't happen. I go, no fucking shit, man. So I didn't say no fucking shit because
I would have.
I go, that's kind of what I figured. And he goes, well, no, we're not going to. You get full store credit. Don't worry about it. We're gonna cover this. Why don't you grab a bat? Here's the thing. They didn't have that bat in Jasper's size. They had it in a size smaller, but obviously he's a little bit bigger. So they still got me because you let your kid pick the bat he wants. And there's going to be a more expensive bat coming your way. So nonetheless, full props to Doug Sports for making that a painless return experience for me and my son. And I'm never happy to spend that much money on a baseball bat, but I rather it went to someone here as opposed to a head office in Santa Clara, California.
It pays to shop local, Dave. It happens. A funny story I got about Doug Sports. The umpire shoes that I wear to this day behind the plate, got plate shoes plus paws. They haven't been in circulation for quite some time. I bought those shoes at Doug Sports in 1997, and I'm still wearing them today. To this day, they're in good condition. I take good care of them. I shine them up. I make sure they're good. They got Goodyear soles at the bottom of them. I'm not making that up. They're made out of Goodyear tires, plus paws umpire shoes. They're fantastic. I got a Doug Sports, same location, 25 years later. Doug Sports, shout out to you guys and Gypsy Girl Pizza.
25. I remember going there when I was in grade school.
They've been there 40 years, probably.
Well, I'd say closer to 50. Because I'm 52 and I was there, like, honestly, when I was in elementary, I was buying soccer gear there. I didn't I don't buy all my sports, and until Jasper started playing ball, I will admit I stopped going there. It's more of a high school local sports
Yep.
place, which is commendable. They have all the colors and the socks for all the local basketball teams. They clearly cater to that. And but you know, when it's when you're local and you care about the community and you cater to the community, I applaud that, and I was happy to spend my money on my son's ball gear at Doug Sports here in Lethbridge, Alberta.
There you go. Shop local. It pays off for everybody else around the community. Anyways, Dave, we got a few oh yeahs or oh no's to end tonight's show off. You ready to go?
Oh yeah.
Or oh no. Dave, once in a while you go to a store and you know what you want, you know what you're looking for, but you don't know how to word it. Oh yeah or oh no to talking to the retail staff.
Last case scenario. I hate it. I'll walk a lot unless I'm in a hurry and or frustrated. Where am I? What store am I at?
Home Depot.
No, never. Like, oh, sorry, I won't say never. If I'm in the tool section, like or if I need a part or for plumbing, I'll find it on my own. If I'm on the wood side, I'll ask for it, because the guys on the wood side seem to be a little bit more knowledgeable than the people.
They know stuff I don't. Like when it comes to plumbing, like I know what I need. Now I need this fitting and that fitting and this to I'll make it work. I need the retail guy to not be around me. Like
right,
just,
exactly.
like they're doing their job. I'm not telling them to fuck off. I'm just saying, I got it. Can you just
right.
Right.
But on the wood side, when I need a hand, like and they'll cut it for you and everything like that, I will go to the wood side, because they don't know what I want, but they can do what I need. Whereas on the parts and that kind of shit, I know what I want and I can figure it out.
Dave, there's two less Joes managing Major League Baseball as of today. Girardi got fired on, I think it was on Friday, and Joe Madden with the Angels, the smartest man in baseball. Just ask him. He's jobless today. He got let go by the Angels, like I said. Oh yeah or oh no, Dave? Firing a coach, manager mid-season.
If it has to be done, it has to be done. I'm gonna say give an oh yeah, because if it's oh no, then like it can never be an oh no, because what are you gonna do, right? Like we were sunk ship, but you fired the coach and you guys didn't get better. Well, we still sucked anyways, right? You always get that dead cat bounce as soon as the new coach comes in. Especially
why is that? Because the Phillies ended up actually sweeping their weekend series last week and they won 3 in a row.
Yeah,
like
and look what
it's uncanny. It happens like almost every time.
Look what happened to the Canucks. Like,
yeah,
not only did they get
Brucey Boudreau.
Yeah.
Well, the Oilers as well, right?
And the Oilers as well, exactly. If the message isn't getting through, and you know, a 12-game losing streak, I get it. It's an individualistic game, but 12 games is 12 fucking games.
That's a lot, man.
And when you got two of the highlight reel players of all MLB on your team, you got to start making the fucking playoffs, man.
I'm not a Madden guy because he's got to be the smartest guy in the room all the time. He just comes across to me as a kind of a nozzle. That's my own opinion. I'm entitled to it. It's my show, so I can say what the fuck I want. It's our show, sorry. I can say what the fuck I want. But he just comes across as I'm just so smart and so smart. And he had a bit of a cryptic message last night saying it seems that the players have given up on me. Dude, it's not about you, man. It's about the team. Like, just enough.
Like, how come you're not smart enough to make him play for you?
Yeah, you have two of the best players in baseball, and you're still losing.
Yeah, and you know, just because, like, you know, it's one of those. He seems to be one of these guys that just keeps falling forward, right? Well, not forward, I won't say. Tampa Bay's been doing just fine without him, right?
Yep.
They're doing well without him, and then like, wow, like look what he's doing with this limited budget. It's not what he was doing. He was just managing brilliant scouting work and
I think
lineup
like
construction.
the older I get, Dave, and the more I watch baseball, I think that the general manager and the scouting staff has a lot more to do with the and how the roster is constructed has a lot more to do with it than the manager does. And the manager's the fall guy.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll totally agree with that. And then and he was gifted that opportunity with Chicago. Thank you, Theo Epstein, right? And then I believe he quit the Cubs, and he just got the Scotty Bowman treatment in Anaheim.
Dave, oh yeah or oh no, hard shelled tacos.
Oh yeah, fucking right.
Yeah, I know. I'm a hard oh no on those, man. They just make a fucking mess. They break open. They're all over the place. I'm a hard oh no on the hard shelled tacos.
Okay,
I like the soft tacos. Great, love it. Thanks.
Okay, so now I'm gonna break it up a little bit here. Now we make tacos at home,
Yeah.
right? So on the road it's soft. At home, when we make them ourselves, it's hard for that exact reason, because I have a plate with me, and then like at the end of the meal, I have a fork and eat all that shit up, and it's like now a taco salad. But like biting into a hard taco it's a fucking treat. I like it a lot.
So you're an oh yeah on that, eh?
Oh, big oh yeah. And then how you do it, people do it wrong all the time.
Maybe I've just been doing it wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. So anyways, when you make your hard taco, you put the cheese in first, and then you put the meat, and then you put the lettuce, and then you put the meat, and then you put the tomatoes or sour cream, whatever you want. But you got to get that cheese in first. When the meat's in the bottom, all the grease makes it a little soggy and stuff.
That screws up the taco.
That fucks up the taco, right? The cheese is the buffer between the meat grease and the taco. And if you do it properly, you can get 80% of that thing in your mouth and not on the floor. But I love a hard taco. I prefer, if I could eat, if hard tacos weren't messy, that's what I would order to go as well.
Two more. This one, I don't know how this is a oh no for anybody. It's a hard oh yeah for me. Neapolitan ice cream.
Never. No. Fuck off.
It has all the three most popular flavors in one.
Well, so here, I'm a little bit blessed in the fact that we have a craft ice cream store right beside Pop's Pub.
Yeah.
5-minute walk. I'll go there, and you know what they don't sell? Neapolitan ice cream. They have good flavors. They have like whatever. And then when I buy ice cream for the house, it's always vanilla. It's always vanilla.
Because you add stuff after, like, do you make a sundae kind of deal? Summertime sundae,
or it's with cake,
like a parfait or something.
Right. It's an accoutrement to a dessert, right? Ice cream isn't the main event. It's the accent to the dessert.
Deanne can make an ice cream sundae dessert. Whatever. It's well, wow. And I'm surprised. I'm surprised I don't weigh 9,000 pounds, to be honest with you.
And does she make it with Neapolitan ice cream?
Just it depends. She's got different flavors sometimes.
Man,
Neapolitan's not. If I buy ice cream, it's Neapolitan. But when she buys it, it's usually vanilla, and she adds it, and it's a thing. Last one for. Go ahead. Sorry, Dave.
Well, just the other thing. Like I'll buy a Haagen-Dazs before I buy a Neapolitan.
I got you. Very last one. Going across to Save On Foods there, and you're in the lineup, and you got your basket, your bag. Oh yeah or oh no? People with one or two items looking at you with love in their eyes at the checkout counter. Oh yeah or oh no? Do you let them ahead, or like they can wait their turn?
This is really dependent Because when I go to the grocery store, I'm the food shopper in the family. I always go to the self checkout.
Yeah.
I do that, and then like fuck off. No, get behind me. Yeah, if you're at self checkout, there's no chance you're getting in front of me. If back in the day though, when I had a full cart and they had one or two, I would gladly let people go in front. But because I'm a self checkout person now, no.
If I'm in the lineup, I'm 100%. It's right across the street from the house here. I from the tavern. I got nowhere. I'm in not a rush whatsoever. I'm every time they give me a look at with love in their eyes, like I said, and I'm like, okay, go ahead, man, no problem. It's fine. Just go. You're in a bigger rush than I am. If you're asking, you're in a big rush. So just go ahead.
And so, but like, so when you're at that state, you're not a self checkout guy. You always go through the till.
It depends if I have the cash dollars in my pocket, because this Save On doesn't take cash at the self checkout. It's a tap. But if I have the cash dollars in my pocket, I will go. It's whatever. Depends how much it is, I guess.
Oh, really? I haven't paid cash for groceries in fucking years. It's always tap.
The tappy tap.
Always tappy tap. Yeah, without a doubt. Like
I know it just depends. I don't know why. It's an odd little quirk of mine. I guess that's weird.
One thing where I am a little advanced, I went grocery shopping and forgot my wallet. I was able to do the whole transaction on my phone.
Well, Deanne's a big phone user with her tappy thing all the time now too.
Yeah, with iPad.
I don't know how to do that.
It's really quite easy, but I didn't know I could do it until I did do it. How's that?
I didn't know.
Because I was looking up some kind of thing while I was there, and it, like, hold card near reader, and it fucking paid, and I was like, hey, sweet, that's how this works.
Done deal.
Yeah.
Anyways, oh yes, and oh no's, Manscaped, Bulldog. We got it all going on. Seat Geek Day, fun show tonight. Stanley Cup playoffs. The Oilers are done. We're gonna get. We were talking off air about doing a live show or a recorded show, something at Spit Stadium here in Lethbridge during WCBL game. I won't be on the field. Obviously, we'll have some fun with the crowd, and we'll get the Bulls involved in it. Should be a fun thing to do. We get that going in the upcoming weeks. Summertime's upon us. Jasper's almost done school, so I'm sure you'll be doing some camping and everything else coming up, because his baseball season ends tomorrow night, does it not?
No, it got extended because
the rain out.
There was a rain out last night, so the boys playing tomorrow night at 8:00 at Canola. If you wish to come by,
actually, why don't Deanne and I make our way down there, and maybe we'll bring a cooler with some adult beverages and maybe enjoy the show a little bit.
Wouldn't be the first time a cooler of adult beverages was within arm's reach of me, but nonetheless, it's the late game, so under the lights at Canola tomorrow, and that's what we got going on there. I'm looking forward to possibly setting up an event night for where we can get a little bit greasy and see what we can get up to with any of our local listeners that want to come by. It's summer. We only got fucking 10 weeks of it here in Lethbridge, Alberta. So
getting shorter. We're down to 7 weeks now, Dave. All of a sudden, you never know.
You never do know, because you might be still in shorts and t-shirts come October, but you might be shoveling your walk. It's a weird place we live in right now. Summer's here. It's now. It's not official, but it's here. It's now. Let's get outside. Let's get outdoors. Let's enjoy the place we live in. Let's enjoy our company, and let's do some shit. Let's get wild.
Summer's here. The time is right for dancing in the streets, is what they call it, Dave. Anyways, 1420 Sports Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Take care of each other, but more importantly, take care of yourself, because we need you around. Keep your stick on the ice, and what else, Dave?
Don't swing at high pitches, Jimmy.
Have a good night, folks. We'll talk to you again on Thursday night.